There's a specific dollar amount that breaks people. Not zero, not being broke. A number so high that when people finally reach it, it doesn't set them free. It empties them. Today, I'm breaking down every level of wealth, from nothing to $1 billion, what your life actually looks like at each one, what you can really afford, and which number, the one nobody warns you about, quietly destroys the people who hit it. Chapter 1. $0, nothing to lose. Zero, not zero in a dramatic, motivational poster sense. Zero net worth, which, by the way, puts you ahead of most people in their 20s. Because once you factor in student loans, car payments, credit cards, the average 25-year-old is worth less than nothing. At zero, your decisions are made for you. Where you live, when you work, whether you're eating actual food on a Wednesday night or just rice and whatever sauce hasn't expired yet. Every financial move is reactive. You're not playing the game, you're just surviving it. Your car, whatever still runs. A 2009 Civic with 180,000 miles and a check engine light you've been ignoring for 6 months. You don't pick your car at this level, you just hope it starts. At zero, it's not really about the money, it's about options. You have almost none. And weirdly, that's an advantage. You just don't realize it yet. Because when you've got nothing to protect, you can take risks that someone with a mortgage and a 401k would never touch. So what happens when you actually start building something? This is where most people get stuck, and not for the reason you think. Chapter 2. $10,000 to $100,000, the shift nobody sees. The jump from 0 to 10 grand saved, one of the hardest jumps you'll ever make. You're building a habit from scratch, fighting every ad, every impulse, every friend who wants to split a $200 dinner on a Tuesday because we deserve it. And you're doing all of it while your rent still eats most of your paycheck. But once you cross 10,000, something shifts. It's small, but it's real. You start saying no, not because you can't afford things, because you're protecting something. That's a completely different mindset. You went from reacting to deciding, and that changes everything about how you move. I remember almost buying a $900 chair around this stage. Had it in the cart, sat there for like 10 minutes, closed the tab, not because I couldn't afford it, because I could see the savings number and I didn't want to watch it shrink. That's the shift. That's when you know something changed. And by the time you hit 100 grand in net worth, you've done something most people literally never do. Not because it's impossible, but because they never actually tried. They got raises, they just spent more. At 100K, your money starts working for you. Not a lot. But the compound interest engine has started, and it doesn't stop. Your car at this stage? Probably a Toyota Camry, maybe a Honda Accord, something reliable that you bought used because you did the math and a new car felt like lighting money on fire. But you're not trying to impress anyone anymore. You're trying to build. Most people hear compound interest and think, great, so I'll be rich eventually. But the next level is where that fantasy runs straight into a wall. Chapter 3. $1 million, the lie everyone believes. $1 million, the goal, the thing every financial guru, every retirement calculator has been drilled into your head since you were 18. Here's the problem. If your million is in a retirement account, you can't touch it for 20 years without a penalty. If it's home equity, you can't spend your house. If it's investments, it went down 3% while you were watching this video. And the math nobody puts in those thumbnails. $1 million invested safely generates about $40,000 a year. That's not retire on a beach money. That's don't panic about your electricity bill money. 1 in 5 households technically qualifies as millionaire status. And most of them, they don't feel rich. They feel fine, comfortable, maybe a little less stressed, still checking the price of flights before they book. Your car, maybe a new BMW 3 Series, maybe a Tesla Model 3, something nice enough that your parents think you've made it, but you still looked at the monthly payment before you signed. You can afford a good car now, but you just can't afford to stop thinking about it. Crossing $1 million matters. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's a massive psychological win. It proves the system actually works. But if you're sitting there thinking everything transforms the second you see 7 figures, it doesn't. Not even close. Because the number that actually changes everything, it's 10 times bigger. And it comes with something that nobody, and I mean nobody, sees coming. Chapter 4. $10 million, the most dangerous number. Remember that number I said breaks people? This is it. At $10 million, the math finally works in your favor, permanently. A safe withdrawal rate of 4% gives you $400,000 a year, without touching the principal, without answering to anyone, ever again. This is the level where you stop trading time for money, for good. The question isn't, can I afford this? It's, do I even want this? First class without checking the price, a house in cash, saying yes to things that used to be pure fantasy. Your car, a Porsche 911, a Range Rover, maybe both. You walked into the dealership and paid in full. No financing, no negotiation. The salesperson treated you differently and you noticed, and it felt weird. The car you drive at 10 million isn't about transportation anymore. It's just a thing you picked because you liked the color. But here's what 10 million actually does to people. And this is the part I need you to really hear. I've talked to people at this level, and almost all of them describe the same kind of moment. One guy told me about a Tuesday afternoon. He was sitting in his home office, big house, nice neighborhood, the whole thing. No meetings, no obligations, no pressure, enough money to do anything on earth. His laptop was open to nothing, just the desktop wallpaper, some default mountain photo he never bothered to change. And he just sat there. He said he didn't move for about an hour because for the first time in his adult life, the struggle was gone. And the struggle, that was the whole point. The grind wasn't just a cage he was trying to escape. It was his entire identity. 10 million didn't set him free. It left him completely alone with himself, for the first time, with nothing to distract him from the question he'd been outrunning for decades. Without the chase, who am I? And that's the part nobody puts in the thumbnail. So if 10 million is where money stops being the problem, what happens when it stops being the point entirely? Chapter 5. $100 million to $1 billion, a different planet. Above 10 million, each level gets harder to even imagine, not because the money isn't real, but because the life, the problems, they exist in a world most of us will never see. At 100 million, you're not wealthy, you're influential, you have access that money literally cannot buy for most people. Private rooms, private networks where the real deals happen before the press release. Your name opens doors that cash can't. Your car at 100 million, a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari, maybe a car collection worth more than most people's houses. But honestly, a lot of people at this level barely drive. They have someone drive them. The car isn't for getting somewhere, it's furniture. At $1 billion, some of them own cars that were built specifically for them, one-of-ones. Cars that don't even have a price tag because there's nothing to compare them to. At $1 billion, different planet entirely. You're not managing money, you have people managing the people who manage your money. Your real currency stopped being dollars a long time ago. It's time, it's influence. But the part that caught me off guard when I studied people at this level, the ones who are actually happy, they're not the ones who chased a number. They're the ones who found a problem big enough to keep them busy for decades, obsessed, not in a healthy way, probably, but in a way that meant they never had that Tuesday afternoon. The billion just happened. It was never really the point. Payoff. So here's what I actually found after mapping every level from 0 to $1 billion. The jumps that change your life the most aren't where you'd expect. Going from 0 to 100K is psychologically harder than going from 1 million to 10 million. The millionaire milestone is real, but it's more of a checkpoint than actual freedom. Real freedom doesn't kick in until around 10 million, and past that, it's a different game entirely. One most people will never play, and honestly, one that most people probably shouldn't want to. But what stuck with me most, that afternoon, the guy in the home office staring at a default wallpaper, the emptiness at 10 million. It doesn't have to be the ending. The people who survive it, who actually thrive past it, they'd figured out what they were building toward before the money took that choice away from them. This channel exists to document that journey in real time, not as a fantasy, not as a highlight reel, as a real, unfiltered record of every level, what it takes, what it costs, and what it actually feels like. This is the starting point. Level 1, 0. Follow the path.